Whether you want to make chocolate covered caramels or caramel chews or even caramel sauce, this is the only caramel recipe you're going to need, and it's one that nobody talks about. Welcome to The Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. Today we're going to make caramel, homemade caramel, and we're going to do it old school. That means no cornstarch, no sweetened condensed milk, nothing like that. We just have about 5 ingredients, which is salt, cream, sugar, butter, and vanilla extract, and that is going to make the best caramel. And one of the, I think, most incredible things about this recipe is you can adjust the ingredients to get the texture that you want. So it all starts out the same, but then depending on how much cream you add, you'll have different textures. And I'll get into that in just a little bit. Let's get started with getting our pan ready, because it's super important that before you start this recipe, you have everything ready to go, because it only takes about 15 minutes to do from start to finish. So it's also quick. I love that. All right, so the pan size that you're gonna want is an 8x8 pan. If you go any smaller than that, like a 7x7 or 6x6, you're gonna have thicker caramel. It's gonna take longer to set up, but you can do that. If you go a little bit bigger, like a 9x9, you're just gonna have thinner caramel. It's gonna be fine, you can do that. But you don't wanna go to like a 9x13 where you're gonna have really, really thin caramel, which might be fine if you just wanna, cut it up with some scissors, wrap it in some parchment paper, and give away as little caramel chews. That would be okay. But this recipe works best in an 8x8 pan. You also want a piece of parchment. The parchment is going to make it really easy for you to get your caramel out. Caramel is very sticky, and parchment is one of the things that it will not stick to, or doesn't usually stick to. So it's pretty important in this recipe that you use parchment paper. What I like to do is measure out the parchment paper so it's about a 9x9. Now this is much bigger, obviously. I can look here and see it's too big. Okay. Having extra on the sides is fine. It's just going to be like little handles for you. But there is one thing that will be very helpful if you do this, okay? You could put your pan down here as kind of a guide. You want to cut your corners out, okay? So to do that, I just, again, use my pan as a guide and just make little squares out of each side. And I'm going to show you why that is helpful in just a minute. All right, there we go. So now we end up with this shape. And when we put it into our pan, we are able to get it in pretty smoothly. Everything is covered. There we go. Now that'll work perfectly. And if you don't cut the corners out, it's not the end of the world, but you'll have little creases in the corners, and the caramel will end up having creases, which, again, not the end of the world, but this is how I prepare the pan. That's all you need to do. You don't need to butter it. You could if you wanted to, but it's not necessary. All right, so let's get to making the caramel, because you are not gonna believe how easy this is. This technique is called dry caramel, at least the first part of it is. So what we do is we put sugar into a pan with nothing else, and we cook it until it becomes an amber liquid. Then we will soften it up with the butter, the cream, and flavor it with the salt and the vanilla at the end, okay? So to make this recipe, I recommend having a 4-quart saucepan. It doesn't have to be non-stick. It can be stainless. That's perfectly fine. Make sure your edges are at least 2.5 to 3 inches. That's important because the mixture will bubble up when we add some of the other ingredients towards the end. You don't want to use a big pot that's deep, okay? Even though, yes, the sugar will go in, it's got high sides, because it's going to cook on the bottom a lot quicker. You're going to have a lot of trouble just getting it evenly cooked. And you'll see what I mean when we get into this. So definitely use some sort of a saute pan that's wide, okay? This is probably about 10 inches or so, okay? That's 8 inches will work as well. So if you have an 8-inch pan, that's going to be just fine. All right, now we want to start on our stove on medium high, which for me, I'm using an induction stove, and that is number 7. You will have to use your judgment when it comes to your stove and how it works, to get the right temperature settings. If you're using stainless steel, you will want to decrease your temperature a little bit. So maybe start off on medium, okay? And then you can go up if you need to, and you can go back down. So we're gonna be right there with it. It's 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes it takes to make the caramel, okay? So stay right with it. The other thing that's very important is the type of spoon or spatula or stir that you use. You can use a wooden spoon or something like that. This is like, I don't know, a spaghetti thing, I think, but it works fine. You can use a high heat silicone spatula. I've done that. That works fine. Just make sure it's for high heat because the sugar is going to get really, really hot. It has to be rated over 350 degrees, okay? What you don't want to use is metal. Don't try to use any metal, whether you're using nonstick or whether you're using a stainless steel pan. If you use metal, it changes the temperature too rapidly in the sugar mixture and it will mess up your results. So don't do that. Wood or silicone is fine. What you're gonna want to get ready for this recipe, and definitely measure everything out and have it ready ahead of time, okay? Because remember, this moves fast. You want 3 cups of white sugar, half of a cup of heavy cream, and I recommend taking it out of the refrigerator about 30 minutes before you start the recipe so it kind of has time to warm up so it doesn't cool your mixture down too much. You want 8 tablespoons or half of a cup of salted butter, room temperature, that is kind of broken up into little pieces. You want 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, a half of a teaspoon of sea salt or kosher salt, and then you also want to have a little bowl of cold water. We're not going to use a thermometer in this recipe. We're going to go old school and we're going to do the water test. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that as we go through the recipe. 3 cups of sugar into a very dry pan. You want to make sure that there is not any water or any type of moisture in your pan when you get started with this recipe. As the sugar heats up, you're going to start to see it turn into what looks like rock sugar. And you might say, oh my gosh, I've ruined it. You have not. That is the first stage. After it all turns into this rocky looking sugar, it will then begin to melt and it will turn into this amber liquid. It's important to stir constantly now and bring the sugar mixture from the edges to the center and scrape the bottom of the pan. We have a nice caramel color now. I'm just waiting for the rest of these little solid pieces to completely melt. You should be able to smell that caramel now. But if at any point during making this recipe you smell burnt sugar, your heat is too high. Turn it down a notch. All right, I'm gonna take this over here. Be careful you don't dump in the water into the caramel. That would not be good. And we're putting it in there. I hear it sizzling. I took this off the heat too so I could show you what this is like, okay? So I know that we are done. Look at that. It made a beautiful little decoration. It is completely hard. That is like hard caramel candy. Oh my gosh, so good. But not what we're going for. We're going for chocolate covered caramel. So now we're gonna add in the rest of the ingredients. You wanna add in your butter. I'm putting this back over the heat now. Add the butter in all at once and stir. Add in the heavy whipping cream and stir. Add in the salt and stir until it's well incorporated. Remove the pan from the heat and add in the vanilla extract and stir well. All right, I just got a little bowl of clean water so that you can see. You could use your same bowl of water that you tested before and it's gonna be fine. Now I'm gonna drop a little bit of the finished caramel into the cold water so I can see what the texture is gonna be, because that is gonna be the texture of your caramel when it sets up. All right, there we go. It's perfect. So what happened is it fell into a little ball at the bottom, but then it can be squished and it can be stretched. That is going to be perfect for our caramel. Oh my gosh. So perfect. So delicious. All right, now let's get our pan up here. Last thing we need to do is pour it into the pan and let it sit for about 90 minutes to 2 hours. All right, there we go. Now I'm using metal, which I like to use for this. It cools down a little bit quicker, but you could use glass or any other type of container, any type of pan that you want to use. And then we're just gonna set it at room temperature until it sets up and it's firm enough for us to cut into pieces. And then I'm gonna dip it in some delicious dark chocolate. Once the caramel sets up, which takes anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, just depending on the environment and the humidity level in your house. In fact, it's been really rainy for us here, and although the caramel set up just fine, and I'm gonna be able to work with it, it is a little stickier than I like, and that's just the humidity. Absolutely nothing you can do about that. So try to make your candy on a dry day, not a wet day like I did. And then also another thing is you can keep your caramel in the pan for several days on the counter if you wanted to make it and then, a day or 2 or 3 later, dip it in chocolate. That's perfectly fine. But don't do what I did. I just laughed so hard at this. So don't cut your caramel on a humid day and put them on a tray and think you're going to be able to dip them the next day, because the caramel will soften up. There's going to be humidity in everybody's house and it will soften up. Not to this extent probably, because it's been super humid, but just so you don't do that. Now these are still perfectly fine. I'll just cut them up and put them into little wrappers and make them into little caramel chews. So they're perfectly fine. I'm not gonna throw them away or anything, but they're not gonna dip right, okay? So before you get ready to dip your caramels in chocolate, you wanna have a parchment lined tray that's big enough to hold them all. That's very important. And now we're gonna get to cutting. This is always a little tricky, especially if it's a high humidity day, because again, it's gonna be a little sticky. So just take your caramel out of your pan and pull down the edges here. All right, take a long knife, as long as you have. I mean, this one, I wish it was even a little bit longer because it'll go through, but it takes me about 2 cuts. If you can have one knife that goes straight through, even better. Then what I like to do is just take a little bit of butter and kind of coat the knife on both sides, especially if your caramel's sticky like mine is. This is gonna help to cut through the caramel a little bit easier. The other thing you could do is just spray it with some oil if you wanted to. But since there's butter in the caramel, I figure we'll just stick with the same flavors. And now we cut the pieces. You can cut them as big or as small as you want. You can cut them in half first and then divvy them up, or do what I do and go from the end. Remember, we're gonna dip them, so we don't want the caramel to be so big. You just want a nice bite of the caramel. So go all the way through with the knife, pushing down, and then sort of push this way to separate it as cleanly as possible, okay? Then once you have all of your strips done, there's a couple things you can do. Now this is really sticky, so I'm gonna try not to pick it up too much. You can take your knife again and just cut little pieces here. Or you can take some sharp scissors, I do have to pick it up for this, and just snip it off, okay? Either way works perfectly fine. So to dip them in chocolate, you can dip them in dark chocolate, milk chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate, whatever chocolate you like. You can even dip them in white chocolate if you wanted. I think that would actually be kind of pretty, especially if you decorate it with a little bit of green glitter or something. It might be pretty, or gold or something. Anyway, what I do with my chocolate is I use the Ninja Foodi to keep it warm. It's the perfect consistency for dipping, and it stays good on keep warm all day long. So if I'm gonna be a marathon candy making and using a lot of chocolate, this is my go-to, and I'll definitely link to the instructional video on how I set this all up below this video. All right, what I use, and you can use candy dipper, you can use whatever you want. If you know how you like to dip your chocolates, dip them that way. It's perfectly fine. This is what I do. I take one of the caramel candies and put it on the tip of a fork, put it in, dip it all the way down, make sure it gets coated, pull it out, shake off the excess, and then I use the side of a knife, a butter knife, just to kind of push it off the fork, okay? And I just repeat that for all of the candy on the tray. You don't want to let your caramel sit in the warm chocolate too long because it will soften up. So you want to do this kind of quickly. And then if you want to top them with the salt, do about 3 to 5 of them. And you can then take a little bit of salt. Now this is a coarse, it's actually a coarse gray salt. You could use a coarse pretzel salt. And you just put a little bit right on top. And that gives that little boost of salt flavor that so many people love. It looks really pretty. Now personally, I prefer my caramels without the salt. I've tasted them both ways. I like them better without. So I'm going to do some with and some without. So once all of your caramels are dipped in the chocolate, then you can just let them sit on the counter until they set up. I recommend letting them set up at room temperature. However, you can pop them into the refrigerator for a short period of time, but you don't want to leave them in there too long because what happens when you bring them out, sometimes they'll start to get some like discoloration. It's called sugar bloom, and it's from changes in temperature with the chocolate. So let them set up at room temperature in a cool place. That will be the best. All right, and these were made yesterday and they are set up. You can just break off the little excess of chocolate if you want, or leave them, it doesn't really matter. Perfect texture on caramel. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, super easy, do the dry caramel.